Okay, so let's get started, guys. I'm gonna tell you right now that in my lectures, right, I feel like I'm turning into one of those teachers that you hate, who just lectures and forces you to memorize head knowledge, and I hate head knowledge. Head knowledge is not gonna help you at all unless you do something with that head knowledge. So I'm gonna begin doing more examples, and in this example there are gonna be many features of the language that I have not gone over in lecture, okay? But the thing is, I'm going to explain it just as well, if not better, here, and I promise you, this will actually stick in your mind more than just listening to a boring old lecture, okay? So let's get started. Fire up your Notepad++, okay? We did that. Put in your hash bang, okay? Now, I never told you this, but this flag right here, this -W, is for errors, okay? So, if you put this flag here, the Perl interpreter, if it sees an error, will actually print out the error on the console. Otherwise, the Perl interpreter will not execute the program and will not give you an error of where the program is, okay? So, fire that. So now what we need to do is open the file. How do we do that? Well, first of all, I'm going to define a scalar, right? That's going to store as a string the name of the file, okay? How about I put this scalar name, file name, equals input, it has to be a string, input.txt. There, we just created a string called file name, okay? And now I'm gonna do something a little bit different. Let me bring up my notepad. In Perl, there's something called the unless statement. Okay? This is the structure of the unless statement. Now, the unless statement is a decision-making statement, okay? It'll either do one thing or another based on, what is this? The condition, okay? The condition right here, this is a statement that evaluates either to true or false, okay? If, let me write T or F. True or false, okay? Now the thing is, with the unless statement, unless it's false, if this condition is false, you have this block in here, okay? This block of code in here. If the condition is false, right, this block will execute. That's just the structure of the unless statement. If the condition is true, the program will skip down to this place, okay? It'll skip past this down to here, okay? It'll execute right here. So that is the structure of the unless statement. I hope you understood that. So I'm going to write this little check right here. Unless, here's my condition, okay? Open, I'm gonna call this lake, $ file name, closing parentheses, print, cannot open file $ file name. Okay, so now look, here's the unless statement, right? I'm using this thing, I'm calling something called an open function, okay? Now implicitly in here, this is a condition. What this is saying is, look, the file you want to open is stored as this scalar right here, and it's called file name, right? it's gonna get stored into this thing called lake, and lake is what is known as a file handle. Okay, I'm not gonna formally define what a file handle is, but a file handle, once you create it, is how you pretty much interact with a file. Okay, so what this is doing, opening the file and creating a file handle for us to interact with the file. Okay, so what this is saying, if you cannot open the file, if this condition right here, this open function is false, then you go into the unless statement and you print cannot open $file name \n. Okay, and because this is double quotes, both of these will interpolate by printing out the name of the file, and this will print out a new line. Okay, but if this is true, then you skip the unless statement. Okay, and you just completely get out of this and it won't be a problem. So now I want to introduce something else. I want to introduce a loop, and the loop I'm going to use is called a while loop. Look, this is pretty much like the unless statement, right? What you have right here is called a condition. This can be either true or false, right? And if, as long as this condition is true, you have your block of code. I forgot. Here's your block of code. While this condition right here is evaluated as true, this block will execute. You execute the block and you come back to this condition. If it's true again, you execute the block, you come back again. If it's true again, you execute the block and come back again. Well, when do you exit this thing called a while loop? Whenever the condition becomes false. Okay? So what we're gonna, I think I'm running out of time right now, so I will continue in the next lecture, or next example part. I'm sorry.